Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Perez. I hope you're doing well and you're working hard and your family's well. I figured today it's supposed to be sunny and tomorrow's supposed to be sunny, so it was a good time to start prepping our raised garden bed and planting our first crops or seeds that we're able to plant, which are the cold crops. That's the lettuce. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so in preparation for planting some of our crop, I bought a couple of things to help us, some tools to garden with. So we have some snips here, which work like scissors to snip off and prune our, trim our plants once they're growing. So we got some of those. We have this soil plow. It's like a hand plow that helps us prepare our garden bed to plant the seeds. So that's going to be handy. We have this shovel. It's like kind of a heavy duty shovel, so that's going to help with deeper rooted plants. Probably not what we're going to be dealing with, but a shovel nevertheless. This one's kind of cool. This was only 94 cents, but I like it because, see, it has the measurement. So most of our seeds we're going to plant 1/4 of an inch into the soil, so that's going to be just that little tiny bit. It's just going to be barely covered with soil, kind of like our apple seeds. Well, these knee pads, we're not going to need those since I'm lucky enough to have a raised garden bed, so we don't have to bend down in the dirt. A little bit of water to hydrate ourselves, keep ourselves healthy and hydrated. There's various kinds of gloves here. These are just light cotton gloves that are pretty useful for just, you know, wearing when you're snipping stuff and gathering flowers or vegetables. These are heavy duty. They have leather, so these are good if you're dealing with thorn bushes. I have some in the back. And these are water resistant or waterproof, so we'll be using these probably when we're digging in the soil and messing around with planting our seeds and that kind of thing. So that's our prep station. That's our potting bench. Oh, and that's my old gardener's hat there. And we'll be getting started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to line our garden bed with this black garden bed liner. All right, so that fits perfectly. Oh, Balto's checking us out in the backyard here, right by the fence. So I guess we measured everything right, and the garden box fits the garden liner. Next, we'll come over and start loading up the soil in our garden bed. So we have a lot of bags here. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this was to carry the bags over and kind of put a couple in. And I'm splitting it here with a box cutter, and it's just going to come out nice and easily. We'll roll up my garden. Okay, so there's about 3 bags in here now. I'm going to use this tool, to kind of flatten it out, break up some big chunks, make sure that's nice and workable. Okay. Okay, so there's our garden bed. Looks pretty good. The soil's nice and workable. It's kind of flattened out. I wound up using 6 out of the 8 bags, which was a really good estimate of what we needed by the gentleman from the gardening center. So we have a couple bags left over that we're going to use on other plants and those apple trees that we still need to transplant into larger pots. So the next thing we're going to do, remember it's 2 feet by 6 feet, the rectangle garden. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark out our square cubic feet so that we can go by our plan that we've made beforehand and start planting our garden. So here I am in my garage looking through all my leftover stuff that I always keep in case you can use it again. So I found these screws. They're nice and long, and I used those to attach my cabinets in my kitchen a couple years ago. So I kept hold of those. They're going to work for us, and some twine, and of course our tape measure. And we're going to be marking off our garden with these tools here. Okay, so I've marked off every foot with one of those cabinet screws to go all the way around. This one's in the middle. Okay, and on the other side. Okay, there are my string markers. I think it turned out pretty good. I probably could have maybe used nails too and nailed it right into the garden bed, but it's a new garden bed, so I want to try not to nail stuff in and see if this will work. We're just marking off the cubic square feet so that we can follow our plan. I printed it up off that website there. So we'll be planting the ends first. That's the spring mix, the lettuce, and we're going to be starting, I decided, the tomatoes and the peppers inside, and I have our strawberry plants right over here that we'll be planting right into our garden box. So, and there's our little apple trees. They're even bigger than they were last week. Alrighty. Okay, it's still kind of early today, so waiting for it to warm up a little bit before we go outside and start planting, sowing in our seeds. I figured I would spend this morning thinking about garden markers. Okay, marks your vegetables. So ask, imagine, plan, create. Asking about garden markers, just marking where you're planting certain vegetables. Even though we have that plan, I want to be able to look at the garden and know what I planted and where I planted it and how it's coming along. So let's imagine the different ways we can do it. Okay, so there are a lot of ways that we can do this. These are some ideas here. These are kind of funny. They're like plastic animals painted with the names on them. See that? Forks, look, just plastic forks with the name of what you planted on it. Rocks. There are fancy signs there. Some of these are for larger gardens. I don't think I want to put rocks in. I don't want to take up any of that soil space. This is what my mom used to do. Just put the seed packet on a stick. But they're paper, so you have to make sure that the moisture, the rain, and the water doesn't disintegrate your sign there. Really simple things. This one I kind of like. That's just like craft sticks. That's a good size for our garden. So I think I'm going to do, something with craft sticks. Oh, that one's nice. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to use craft sticks because they're nice and small. I'm going to paint them white because I have a lot of white paint, and I'm going to use black Sharpie to write the name of the vegetables on the sticks when they're dry. I'm going to use this foam brush here. It's going to make the paint go on easy. I'm going to paint both sides. I'm going to label both sides, so depending on which side I'm standing on the garden, I'll be able to see it, both sides. I like to use protect the tabletop by using some newspaper. I like using magazines or newspaper that have a little bit of a shine to it, a little sheen to it, because it waterproofs it. So instead of using like matte type of newspaper, this will protect your tabletop better. So if you have old magazines with a little bit of a shine, you can use that. And I'm going to use this foam that I saved from our packaging from our garden box to stand the sticks up and let them dry. So we don't have to, we can paint both sides, let them dry like that. Okay? Okay, so it turns out to be a little windy today. My soil is kind of blowing around. I don't know if that's good for seeds that are planted a quarter of an inch beneath the top of the soil. So I think we're going to start by transferring our strawberries over to our garden bed, and then we'll see if the wind dies down or if we just should wait till tomorrow. Okay, so the directions for this says 1 tablespoon, that's this, for every cubic square foot of our garden bed. So we're going to mix that in before we plant anything. Here's one of the squares we're going to work today. So loosen that up. Mix it in there. Mix that up. Some strawberries. Okay, we planted our strawberries. There's a trellis in the back that marks where our tomatoes and our peppers will go. We're going to start those inside and transplant them outside when they are ready, when the weather's warmer and the soil's warmer. Took the liberty of preparing for our spring lettuce mix that's going to go on both ends. Filled up these 2 pots that I had from last year with some soil, ready to plant our tomato and our pepper, or the tomato seeds. They're pretty small, so 1 for this container. We're going to start our tomatoes and peppers inside. Bolto's going to have to share his spot in the kitchen for a little bit. He's not happy about that. Okay, so I think the wind died down enough to start planting our cold crop. So I have here, I'm planting 9. This is not quite a cubic foot. I kind of got cut short because the planter's not quite 6 feet long. So I'm first time at this. I'm planting plenty of spring mix, I think, for me. So I have 9 holes here and 9 up there. So that's 18. I'm going to plant 18 here. See how we do. Mixed salad greens the seeds were kind of small, most of them. So I used this little funnel here to help me plant into those small little holes, since I don't have a fancy seeder. Okay, so I went ahead and planted my onions and carrots. Both packets said that you could plant safely between March and June or May. For this zone, I used a Phillips head screwdriver to just kind of make a hole in the ground, 1/2 inch deep for the carrots, 1/4 inch deep for the bunching onions, and then I used this little funnel to help me get those tiny little seeds into the hole that I made. Hopefully that will work. You can see my little markers. Pretty much into buffalo plaid these days. So we'll see. Okay, I think we're pretty much done for today. We planted our garden. In a couple of weeks, we'll check back, see how things are progressing along. We started our tomatoes and our peppers inside with Balto, so we'll see how they're coming along. We still have our apple trees that we're going to transplant. We're going to let them get a little bit bigger. Until then, I hope that you think about planting a garden, or at least a planter. You could plant 1 plant of flowers or 1 vegetable. Think about what you want to do maybe and plan it out, and have fun. I'll see you soon. Bye.